Hi, I'm playing a birding simulator while I'm procrastinating about working on my own project that I need to get to. So I'll play for a little bit. Don't know much about it. I'm going to move around. I'm going to pause the tab. I'm going to press E to interact and then Shift for hiding and showing the HUD. A character builder. Um, I'm gonna be, because it's a bird game, a red-breasted booby. He, him. Look at that. No, I have to be red. Have to be red. Nope. I think I broke the... I broke the generator. The shirt's not changing color anymore. Hmm. There's a bug. Let me refresh that. Maybe I shouldn't be a red-breasted booby. Maybe that broke it. Trying to think of other fun bird names. A glorbled warbler? Is that a bird? Glorbled warbler. I'm going to do that. Glorbled warbler. Glorbled warbler. I'm going to go a little easier on clicking these buttons. But something is weird with the shirt color. It's when you go backwards. Maybe? When you go back to green? Ah, if you press left, once you hit green, I can keep hitting left. And I hit it like 4 or 5 times. Now it's going to take 4 or 5 times to come back. So maybe there's some kind of like you're going in the negative. It also didn't go back to like the vivid red. So something's a little off about that. I'll be pink, sure. Pants? Oh, I look like a ice cream sandwich. Love it. I will have matching shoes. Uh I can be bald. Where's my hair? I'm used to doing hair selection, but I can be bald. That's fine. That's what a glorbled warbler looks like. I'm not hearing any sound, so I'm assuming it just doesn't have any. No, I don't need to sleep yet. I'm gonna leave. Mr. Downey. Oh, there's sound. I hear the music. Could have some light music on the main menu to get people situated. I don't read a lot of dialogue in games, so depending on how this game goes, I might not be the best audience for it. I'm clicking through a little bit of this to see if it's like tutorial that's important for me. Okay, I gotta sneak near the bird, don't let it see me. Oh, I won some birds by just talking to that guy. So I'm seeing a cardinal, I guess, and it's darker through the trees. And so I've got identify, wait and observe, and move closer. I don't understand the difference in these two options. I get move closer because maybe there's some risk that I'll scare the bird, but isn't identify and wait and observe the same thing? What I'm assuming is identify means I'm going to say, that's a cardinal, and I could be wrong. Wait and observe is like hang out where I'm at and try to get more info. So in terms of UX, I think that like these buttons are kind of related, right? That's a risk and a reward, or not a risk and a reward, but like a push your luck or be safe kind of thing. Identify is a do it, like a big like spin the wheel. Now's the time to submit, and then leave is like get out of here. So I think there's some thought you could do in like how are you presenting buttons and grouping them. Like leave could just be up here. I don't know. Anyways, I don't know the consequences of any of these things, so I'm going to identify because I know that's a cardinal. I can see it. Okay, I guess it's not a cardinal. It gave me two birds, and neither of those are cardinals. So I'm gonna say I don't know. So did I lose my chance? I lost my chance. So yeah, that's another reason to be kind of clear about the button distinction. And especially like in a tutorial setting or the first time, if you had the big identify button, I'm not saying put all this text in there, but an approach you could do is identify, and in a tutorial mode, it's like careful, make sure you have all the info you need to do this thing. And if it was distinct, it's easier to call it out. And in the player's mind, you want them to think what's a destructive action and what's a safe action in that list of things. And I just wasn't sure the consequences of any of those things I was doing. So I'm going to be walking around looking for another rustling bush, I think. The rustling bushes were doing a good job pulling me towards them. Okay. This is that same bird, which I guess isn't a cardinal. So what I'm going to do is not this. I'm going to move a little closer. So we got a little mini game here. Oh, okay. So now what it is I don't know what happens if I guess and I'm wrong, right? I don't know. That's my honest answer. So I'm gonna see what happens if I guess. That's a common crested chiff because it has a crest, right? Is that a crest on a bird? I don't know what that meant. So I got a ding, which I can assume is a good sound, but just being a sound effect, it's kind of hard to know. Was that a pass, a fail? And it didn't feel as good as a reward perspective. A reward, the way I'm perceiving it as an award, because I want to see like do 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 crested thingy, and really celebrate the success versus just a good job, type of thing on there. So you could really lean into the celebration of making a good choice. And also like reinforcing for the player, yes, that was of this. So now I'm here again, and I'm wondering, well, that's the one I just picked. I can see it. It's the crested thingy. And I forgot the name already. Did it even count? Why is it dark again? Do I know it? Should I assume, oh, I've seen it before, I know the answer, I will identify and choose the right thing again? Or was that wrong? So like I'm wondering these things in my mind because the success or fail of that last interaction wasn't clear. So I'm gonna try this again because now what I'm wanting to do this because I'm like, well, I failed last time I moved closer, but I also was like spooking it. So now that I'm playing it again, I'm noticing this, right? It's red light, green light is what we're actually doing. That wasn't clear to me the first time. It doesn't have to be clear the first time. But this is fun. This little mini game's fun here. This is totally something that I'm not a big fan of over tutorialization, but in a future prototype, if the guy was like, I'm going to take you on your first bird hunt, and it was very succinct, you could have him take you to a bird and be like, okay, now what you got to do is sneak up on this thing. And it explicitly told you that the first time. That could be maybe a helpful thing, but I understand it. Without that, I think what would help a lot more without a tutorial is when you get caught, you don't just close the modal immediately. You have the bird like like little lines going out, and having it say like, "Oh, you spooked the bird," and the player learns like, because it was facing me, because it saw me, it's gone, right? So I'm getting closer, and I am noticing that this bird is getting more and more red. But I mean, I can see it. I've seen this bird the whole time. It also sounds like there's 2 songs playing. That might be the music. If that is the music, I would say like, this song's crazy. Like it'd be cool like dream music. There's just a lot of instruments playing at once. I'm assuming there's 2 songs overlapping here. Maybe it's building pressure as I'm getting closer. So where I'm wondering now is the mini game where like I'm filling in the color and I want it to be red enough, or in this game I'm going to be able to, like, I need to see the actual subtle details of the wing pattern and the color, and maybe another version of this bird is just very different or slightly different, and I should be identifying already, or is the mini game I need to hit the end of this bar? I'm not sure. I'm in my mind, I'm like, I want to complete the bar, but I'm also a little worried when I touch the end, this bird's going to fly away because I'm at maximum closeness. Crikey, he doesn't see us. We're right on top of him. Oh, I shouldn't have even moved there. He was looking at me. I was on the other side of him. There is some kind of like, I'm a little confused about that. I kind of get the impression you wanted me to click identify, but hopefully you saw there's a little bit of confusion in the right thing to do. I clicked this last time and it went ding. Good, I guess. Let's look at our manual. Common crested chiff. Yeah, that's him. So we got the common crested chiff, and I can't click this one. It's a little confusing how I can't click it, but it's like visible compared to the others. I would almost expect, if this is like meant to be some kind of hidden, you haven't identified it yet state, since I can clearly see it in the picture, if you want the user to clearly see these but they're disabled, it might be nice to let me click it, see it, but it says like unidentified down here. Otherwise, it's really confusing why I can't click that option. It feels like it's bugged or something. So I'm going to close that. So that is a common crested chiff. In the game design, what I'm wondering is, I know it's that bird. Every time I see it silhouetted out, I don't need to creep in and identify it. So what I want to assume is, as the game goes on, it's about those subtle color variations. If it's not, that might be something to really explore, right? 2 birders who are like, oh, that's not a common crested chiff. That's a Parker's goobled chiff, and it's the exact same except for like it's missing 1 stripe on the line, and that could be really fun. Of like, how do you identify it just enough and find like the subtle pattern that differentiates it from another one? So I don't know this bird. It's not in my compendium thing. And I'm thinking like, I don't need to move closer, because all moving closer is going to do is make it go from dark to light, or, dark to colored in, or whatever. I guess I could do wait and observe. But I know now that these kind of both feel like wrong answers to me, because this isn't even in my compendium. I don't know what this thing's called. So I'm going to click that. So we got a mini game, right? Avoid 3 X's. Bird +5 view. Binoculars +10 view. What? I think we're doing a slot machine, perhaps? I'm seeing the 3 things in a spin. In a future version of the game, you might be able to get a little more diegetic here and come up with the reason why there's a slot machine or something. But I think it's fun having a mini game. I'm just confused why this is in here, I guess. So avoid 3 X's. Bird plus 5 view. I also don't know what view is. So if you're going to have these points, it might help to have a meter or a target view score. You know, I'm at 5 out of 100 view or something. So I can spin again. And I'm a little confused why there's red and yellow X's. Yeah. There's... Maybe you have a reason for these, like 3 red X's matches, but 2 reds and a yellow doesn't. Okay. I would kind of recommend, if you have this difference in strikes, just make this a different type of strike rather than an X, because these are very similar in here. Or do you even need, you know, 2 types of strike in there? For a really cool slot machine effect too, I like how you're doing the random rolls, but you could do, as they spin, like they come in one at a time versus all landing at the same time. That'd give it a little more juice. Yeah, so right now, I don't know, are these adding up cumulatively, or like, is it like when I feel like they're good enough, I identify? If it's a per spin, they count, right? Like, let's say I only have 20 because it's per spin. There's a lot of value in communicating that by saying, like, 20, right? And then I spin it again, and it goes 10. That would really clearly communicate to me, oh, it's about the active result. Likewise, if it's cumulative, seeing the bar, like, increase over time, I'd be like, come on, baby, let me get to that 100. I only need 1 more spin. I do the spin. Oh, 3 X's, just like happened there, and then it gets away. So it depends on the effect you're trying to get. But I don't know. Smooth Wood Lancer? Oh, that's a bad sound. All right, that wasn't it. All right. What's this bird ID room? Oh, so I'm just learning these, right? That's what we just saw. It'd be nice to look at those again. I know these are like one-time uses, but this format's kind of neat. Of this, like, oh, I'm going to a natural history museum, and maybe there's like either it's a live bird or a taxidermied version of the bird in there. But it'd be kind of neat if you could come back in here and be like, oh, I want to look at that blue thing again, and you get the same pop-up. It feels kind of like, oh man, what was that again? And you can't go look at it. I know it's in here, but something about that. You've already got this neat nature room. It could be cool to like go and see the birds again, or as the game goes on, like get more and more of those little bird things or something. All right, here's bird in here. So I can't open my manual. It's not letting me. I don't remember what this is. I don't remember if I just unlocked it. So I do get the mini game approach, right? We're gonna wait and observe. We're gonna spin it. So I got 15 points and it looks kind of filled in. Let's see if it gets more filled in the more I spin it. Yeah, that's a little more filled in. That's a little more filled in. So it is a cumulative thing. So what I'm wondering is like, this seems to be doing the exact same thing as the other mini game where I'm creeping up and it's making a bar go up to make the bird fill in more. Both of those mini games don't get me any closer to knowing the name of the bird, because the bird I learned from that museum, and I'm just needing to know the name. These mini games are driving me to see the bird, but with how you have these puzzles designed, I can see the bird immediately from the start. Because at least so far in the game, these birds are very distinct. They have very distinct silhouettes. I can see their patterns clearly. So I don't know if it's doing what you're wanting it to do in terms of like a hidden reveal game. I can tell immediately that that other bird that I can't remember the name of with the cardinal was that bird from the start. I'm gonna hit identify, and this is a guess, right? I don't remember. So it's a memory game, I'm guessing. What is it? It's not this. This was that one we were just looking at, I think. This is the one I already know about. It's neat that you can filter these, so perhaps later in the game there will be different shifts, and I do need to use the minigame to see them. Nope, that one did. But, so these, right? I think that's where you're going with it, is these have the same silhouette, and I'm going to slowly reveal them. So I think I get where you're coming at, but as a new player, before these are presented to me, the minigame doesn't make sense, because it's not doing anything for me at first. It starts to make a lot more sense when you have these variations in there. I'm finding it a little frustrating for myself, because my short-term memory's bad, that when I'm in that mini game, I can't pull up my bird book, right? Like, the fantasy of being a birder is, you know, you're out on the field, you got your binoculars, you hear something, you see something, and you're like, let me check my book, right? And you're like referencing. But in the current approach, in this mini game dialogue, I can't pull up my book, and it's like strictly kind of forcing me to memorize these, which is maybe what you're getting at. I just think it's the way it's presented, it's not nudging me of like, hey, memorize these now, because later you're gonna have to remember the names. If that's what you're going for, I think some of the mini games and some of the way you're structuring stuff could really think about informing that more, getting the player to memorize early, if that's what you're trying to do. So I'm going to do that now. We've got the common crested chip. I would even have fun, like, for example, it could be fun for me if the game was presented like, hey, you're not going to have this when you do the other thing, but feel free to take your own notes in a log. And it could be fun for me as a player to be like, well, I'm not going to have access to this, but I'm going to draw the chiff on a notepad, right? And this is a fun thing to get me to do, because I'm like, this is a chiff. And what is this? This eagle thing is a swick. And I kind of, when I make puzzle games, I find it as a compliment when players take notes on a notepad, right? I don't have to give them all the tools. And then the woodpecker guy is a woodlancer. And coming back to something I was referencing earlier, it took me a while to realize that I could do these tooltips. I thought when I was trying to click these earlier, I was like, oh, the game's not even going to let me see the names ahead of time. So that kind of swayed me away from it until I opened this up recently and realized I can do tooltips to at least get the names out. So this is a smooth woodlancer. And what are these guys? The Chiff brothers. We got a blue chiff. I'm not even going to write down the types. Right? These are on a stick. Those are the Chiff bros. And then we got Monet's Arita, which is just it's one of those birds. We'll get one of those big things there, right? It kind of looks like a starling or something almost. Maybe. I don't know all the bird types. All right. So, I'll reveal my crap drawings. Will these go through the video? You can kind of see them, right? These aren't good, but I'm getting the player fantasy of I'm being a birder right now. So where I'm talking about, if your game is about memorization, to reinforce it, it could even be, rather than this compendium, they have to go to this house, right, to go get the bird info, and they can get it again and again. And the wise old person is like, to be good at birds, you gotta go study up here. You're not gonna have access to this when you're on the field. And that would reinforce a memorization game. If you're not trying to make a memorization game, I think there's just other fun puzzly things you can do about like sounds. Definitely dig into the Chiff brothers where they have different patterns. But I think you could use like different techniques of hiding the sprite for that. Like rather than seeing any texture, like start with full silhouette. Like it's just black, just an outline. And then you reveal just the eyeball. And kind of like those old hidden picture games where you're intentionally revealing the traits that distinguish over time, so that like for the chiffs, for example, it would be very late in your identify loop before you see that. um let's say you don't even get color, but it's like at one point you just see a stripe and you're like, oh, the white-throated one has a stripe. And so can you get to some of those fun deduction points earlier versus here? I haven't seen this bird before, but it's I can see that it's like probably brown with a white stripe under its throat with a blue head or something, and it's got his butt up in the air. In an eyeball. I can see all that, even though it's like obscured from me. The other thing I'm seeing in this game is like I have no idea what this bird is. So like it's kind of like, am I not supposed to do any of these because I feel bad for guessing? And I can move closer. This is like that's a good obscure where it was solid black, but already I can see it. So it's like think about maybe rather than simply going from black to colored in, could you do more intentional stages of revealing? And I guess the challenge I'm having for these new birds is like, yeah, I see it, but I don't know what that is. So like my only choice is to do this, and I feel bad for guessing. I don't want to guess. And I don't know, just feels like, oh, I've wasted that experience. This, that's a Chiff brother. It's not filled in at all. I know that's a Chiff. It's nice that the it's flipped on the x-axis, so it's some differentiation there. But like I don't need to even engage with that game because I know that's a blue-throated Chiff. So that's where the I'm a little skeptical sometimes of the identification thing. At the same time, if this game is for younger players, like young children, this totally makes sense. If you're hitting more of a adult puzzle solving thing, which is like old people love birding, right? I'm old. Birding sounds very intriguing and fun to do. I know what this is immediately, right? I wrote this down. This is the Monita Arieta bird. Yep. So, this is reinforcing the remembering part of the game. Now, this one is different, right? Because if, or a good example again, if this was fully silhouetted, like I can see that this is a red-headed thing with stripes, and it looks like that wood, I think you called it a woodlancer or woodpecker thing. I kind of remember that this is not the same as the other one that was in the book. I think the one in the book was more filled in. So if it was fully silhouetted, I would be like, "Oh, duh, I know what that is. That's a woodlancer," and I would identify, and it would be like, and then it would make me think like, "Oh, dang it, I need to be more careful next time. I need to go in and move closer, right?" And this is doing that immediately. So I kind of wonder if at least on your initial pop-up, make it this black, because that would penalize the player for not getting closer and doing a little bit of bird watching in there. I'm going to get closer, but I don't know what bird this is. Also, this, like, the second you hit, like, here, it's almost as good as being up here. Like, I can read all the colors and everything. Maybe I have excellent eyes, and I'm a natural birder. But, again, it's like, think about stages of reveal, maybe, versus this fade in. Scope creep, right? It's more work to do that, but I just don't know if the mechanic's as effective for that. Again, if this was for young children, though, great. Give them a bone, right? Let them feel smart revealing it and all that, and I think it would resonate really well. So I do think it's a wood lancer, but I don't know which kind. So there's another opportunity you have here where in the game, if you let the player have these like levels of deduction, it's fun to be like, I know it's a wood lancer, but I'm not sure which one, or that's a new one. If I had an option to say like it's a wood lancer, could I get a reward for that? Could the game say, good, you're on the right track? Could it that's maybe how it reveals a new bird to me. It's like, yes, it's a wood lancer, but now you get awarded knowing that it's the smooth wood lancer, and that's how you unlock a new bird. Because again, with the fantasy of a birder, I imagine you're out on the field, you have your book, maybe you're with another birding friend, and you're like, I see it has the clear wood lancer stance, and it has the legs, and it has a beak, but I haven't seen one like this before. And your friend's like, good job, Blugas Blugga. I forget what my name is, but that is a wood lancer, great. But little do you know, that's the smooth wood lancer, and having that like reward where the player can feel good for, yes, I made the right call. I was correct that it was a wood lancer, and I was correct that I did not know which type of wood lancer it was. Feels good. That's like, I feel like I had a good read on the problem. I'm solving it, and I'm moving forward. So it's kind of like, I think you're giving me a bird that I haven't even heard of yet. So if it was, and maybe I have, maybe I missed a pop-up somewhere, but it could be interesting if it was like the one I knew and it said like, I know it's a wood lancer, but I don't know what kind, or it said, I don't know. And that would that intermediate one do something cool, right? Now I just feel like I screwed up. I lost my chance with that bird forever. So I did get it. While I was talking, I was like, oh yeah, I did get another pop-up on a sign, right? So that's the ladderback. Great job with the name. I think ladderback's cool because it's like, I can remember, ladderback has a ladder on its back, right? A white-throated chiff has a white throat. This has blue. Blue chiffs are blue, right? Common crested. So I think that mix of information is nice. Like if this said red crested, it's not like, this is good that it's common crested because it's giving me one little snippet of information. I'm seeing seasons and families here, so that's pretty neat as we're learning over time. I have money? Who knew? I have a burning score? Who knew? So you're getting some stats in here. I'm Glorbled Warbler. That's the name, I forgot. But when I was getting the ding, I didn't know why. So is there... I'm pressing shift because I remember the menu said something about shift. I see the $10. Do I get that from the birds, maybe? I have no idea what EA means. Electronic Arts? Early access? That's a red-throated swift again, right? White-throated chiff? What? Impossible. Wasn't that this? Oh, was it one of these and I just wasn't paying attention? Hey, man, I'll foot in my mouth. Maybe I should have investigated more. Maybe if I would have gotten closer and colored it in a bit, I would have made the right choice there. So now it's getting dark outside. That's interesting. I like the really smooth transition from light to dark. I'm curious if it's going to change things. So this is the common crested chiff. That's all I know about. This is the common crested chiff. So maybe you're intending to do that, where you get this like rapid decision. But again, if it was like really subtle differences between the two variants, it could be just as rewarding for someone to go in here and be like, okay, I gotta reveal it just enough. Okay, that's the chiff, I got it. Just that little bit of friction in there. I guess it's nighttime for me because I was looking at the modal and it was getting darker. It almost felt like it was bugged where this didn't go away, but it's like nighttime. We're getting a lot of chips here. Is this just a chip city? All right, I already know. I don't have to reveal it. That's not the ladder-backed one. That is the smooth one. So I am like learning the memorization part of the game. For sure. So now I'm able to click on a few of these, and I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because I've identified them enough times, or like at least once. Again, with the whole like click pop-up thing, like this, which it was doing automatically, ladder back, right, smooth. What does this do? This does nothing different. Like, this doesn't give me any additional information. So I almost kind of think if you're trying to obscure this until you really know it, don't give me a tooltip, right? Like, only when I unlock it do I see the name. Or I can click it and it says unclaimed. Otherwise, this information in this like disabled, undiscovered state, I'm going to have the exact same information when I see it. Like, this is basically the same image to me with the way it's set up. Maybe you got work in progress stuff, but I'm not getting any new info as a reward. All I'm getting is it's a little bigger. That might matter if you had two different sprites and two birds were very similar, and only in the expanded one can you see there's like, there's 3 little dots under the beak versus this other one has 2 dots. I could see that being some additional information. This is that crazy song again. It's just, for me, it's like one too many instruments or like a lot of overlapping sounds. I definitely feel like I'm on drugs looking for birds when that's going. I don't know what EA is. I'm assuming those are binoculars, maybe? I'm also thinking now, like, what am I supposed to be like going home or something because it's night? I can't go in the stores. It's kind of neat if I can't because it's night out, right? Hello, hello, hello. How's the birding going? It's confusing that these say interact with E, and I can't. So I'd either say, like, you could press E and it says, like, they're not home right now, or what's better is, like, if it said come back later or something, right? Because this feels like a bug where I'm pressing E and nothing's happening with that. And I'm assuming you're saying because it's nighttime you can't go in it or something. I don't know. So I guess I'm gonna sleep. Well, am I? I've got birding to do. I wanted to see if there's like a night bird, but I don't think there is one. I was hoping to see like an owl or something at night. So I'm just gonna go back to sleep so I can freaking see something. This seems to keep hiding more than I want. I was gonna say, it's really helpful to know the time when you're here. So even if something maybe to think about is even if the UI's hidden, if you really want to get that out of the way for some reason, it could help right on here say like 8:30 a.m. sleep, and then it's just all right here if whether they need it or not. If that's a simple addition, I think that could help. We're gonna sleep in a little more because, like, yeah, I gotta get some more hours. So can we go in these houses now? No, we can't. So if you can't go in these at all, I would definitely take off the interact for now. If in your code you can have a flag that's like not ready yet, because it is really confusing seeing it when nothing's happening. Also, this seems a little buggy. You might want to have it like when you walk away, it counts as closing the prompt. I think I broke the game. Cool. Well, hopefully that was helpful. I think some things in this game are giving the birding fantasy of learning new birds, identifying new birds, not scaring them as you're closer to them. But hopefully some of that was making sense on like making it more of a puzzle game. And I really think like you've got a lot of potential in those two chips where they're very similar but also different. Like really digging into that, I think could be a lot of stuff to explore with the game. I'm kind of driven to find all the birds now, right? The Pokemon effect. Um, Collecting them all, but yeah, I think there's a couple tweaks you could do to make it a little more fulfilling as like a puzzle kind of experience where you're really deducing and understanding things. Hopefully that helped. I'm liking what I see.